All of you came to this place for probably the same reason that we came to it. This is an astonishingly inspiring place to come, even if you're not an artist. But we wondered, all those years ago when we started the program, we wondered what would happen if we took musicians, composers, into this place and give them the most immersive, inspirational experience that they could possibly have. Get them out of their comfort zone and let this place reveal itself to them. We wondered what sort of music might they write. Would it be more authentic, more potent in some way? And we discovered that yes, it is. In fact, it's more potent and it also resonates with more authenticity of their experience. And then when we bring the music home here to the place where it was written, we find that the people who also came here seeking inspiration and the people who live here in this inspiration find reflections of their familiar places, their favorite spots to go, their favorite memories in the music that they hear. And we hope that you'll have the same experience. Many of you don't really know what we do. I'll give it to you in a couple sentences. Within 2 weeks, composers come from all over the world. We take them into Denali National Park. They draw instruments out of a hat. We have 5 instrumentalists up here. Each composer draws 4 of them. And then they have a 3-day adventure in the park. And then they have 3 more days to write their pieces. So if you thought composing took months and years, you're right, it does. But we made them do it in 3 days. It's kind of part of the adventure. And then these fabulous musicians had just a couple of days to learn it. They got the music on Monday, and by Wednesday they were playing it on Alaska Public Radio. So that's the caliber of musician that we have. So that's the program. Within 2 weeks it goes from inspiration, composition, rehearsal, performance, and the very last event is when we bring it here to you. So we're delighted to be here for what is our 14th or 15th, we can't really count, final concert here in the Denali Visitor Center. I would like to introduce these amazing musicians to you. Over here on violin we have Andy Tanning, on cello we have Charlie Akert, Joe Bergen on percussion, Alex Loray on saxophone, Katie Cox on the flutes. I'll call them out again and you'll have a chance to applaud once you've heard how amazing that they are. Your program lists the pieces. When we made the programs, we didn't know what the order would be yet. And so you'll know the order because it will pop up on the screen in front of you, but you can use that list as reference to count them off as we go through. This place, as you know, is wild and exciting and scary and a little bit unpredictable, and the music is all of those things. So if you hear some stuff that surprises you or confuses you, just imagine you're out there in Denali and you're in a surprising, confusing situation. And then in another few minutes, a different piece will have a completely different character. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to our first composer. Oh, let me first show you who they are. They're all sitting here, but this is our group of 8 composers and our fantastic Alaska Geographic guy, Cassidy, right there in the center, who is here with us. Woohoo, Cassidy. So you'll be hearing from each of these composers, and you'll be hearing only the second performance of this music ever. Remember that a week ago, this music had not been written. So it's brand spanking new. Andrew.
Hello, everybody. My name is Andrew Sherik. I come from Washington, D.C. And to introduce the piece, when I was flying up to Fairbanks, I was reading a book called Rhythm of the Wild by Kim Hecox, who worked as a ranger here. And I want to start introducing the piece with a quote from that book. If our finest concert halls are full, we don't stuff people in the aisles, we invite them to the next performance. And if Denali National Park is our Carnegie Hall, then we should let the land and rivers sing unfettered. So that quote, when we were going around Denali National Park, was just ringing and repeating in my head, because it really is just a truly magical place. And having grown up on Long Island, outside of New York City, and now living outside of DC, to find wild places takes a lot of effort on my part. Many hours of driving, whereas here it was, we would get on our Alaska Geographic bus, the van, we would drive maybe 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden you could only see the gravel road. And it is just such an incredible experience. And so my piece, Sanctum, tries to encapture that feeling that I was having my entire time in the park. So I hope that you enjoy my piece, Sanctum, and I want to dedicate this piece to Denali National Park, all those who call it a home, and to everyone who protect wild places.
Hello, I'm Colin Spring. I'm from Pomona, California, which is in Southern California. Our group adventure started about an hour drive from here at the Technolika River Camp, where we stayed for 3 nights. And we used that as a base camp to go out on our adventures. And coincidentally, right at that camp is a famous archaeological site called Technolika Archaeological West Site. And it's a big 40-foot bluff with trees on top, but it's high enough where 13,000 years ago, they made camp there, and they would use that as a lookout for game, for all the animals, including the woolly mammoth, which was alive at that time. And that was very inspiring to me, and I used that as the basis of my piece. I imagined hunter-gatherers 13,000 years ago on the top of that bluff, looking at this endless valley that goes in all directions. And all of a sudden, this clan sees 3 mammoths out in the distance. And they're all excited because they want to hunt. But the elder of the clan said to the members, "No, this evening we will not hunt. We're just going to observe and watch these beautiful animals pass by. And we're going to have gratitude for everything they have given to us." And that's kind of the spirit of the song. So it's in a way a joyful piece. The music represents their point of view from their fire looking down from the bluff, but it also represents the mammoths approaching the site where the hunters are. So it starts off with footsteps that you'll hear musically, and the footsteps grow as the mammoths come closer, and then it kind of reaches a peak when the mammoths are right in front of the bluff. Then the music stops, and the humans and the mammoths make eye contact with each other, and then they keep going into the beyond. So I hope you enjoy From the Fire We Watched.
My name is Jatie Fuller, and I'm going to read you the title of the piece before I tell you my program name. So gay, like moss, believe my dropping jaws dream, and soak, 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 soak. On day one, I heard the rain. On day 2, I felt it. On day 3, I dipped my head in. On day 4, we heard the bubbles, and I did 2 half cold plunges. On day 5, I sat in the moss. On day 6, I fully submerged, and it took me 3 days to feel the water. This piece is a loving kindness meditation, and you can join us by feeling the sensations on the bottom of your feet, on the floor, and just relaxing and breathing as you do. Thank you.
I'm from Virginia, so I'm definitely enjoying the break from the heat and humidity while I'm here. Just to know, all of these pictures that you're seeing, all these videos, we all took them while we were in Denali. So if you haven't already gotten pictures just like that, you certainly will. They're all gorgeous. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. After the birds stop singing is inspired by something our guide told us that we'd arrive after the birds stop singing. And as you can probably tell while I'm speaking right now, I'm usually a very crowded person. I'm always in dialogue with myself about what I'm experiencing. But the unique thing about our time in composing in the wilderness was that I found myself really open and still and quiet in my head, which is like really rare for me. And this silence, the absence of birdsong, really amplified that experience. It allowed me to just exist in the magnificent creation around me. So this comes from that feeling, that inspiration where I was just silent and got to hear the song around me. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming down tonight, today, to be here with us and to hear our works performed and share with us in the music making process. And as the Australian, thank you for inviting me into your country. And it's a privilege to be here, especially here in this very ancient place. And I pay my deepest respects to the traditional people of these lands as well. My piece is about the Braided River, which you got to see very beautifully shown by Colin's visuals close up and Victoria's from above on the mountain. And you'll be able to see to the extent that this place has inspired me, both in the sound, but also in the score, which has been beautifully animated up front us on the screen by my dear friend Seamus. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy.
Hello. Thank you all for coming. Before I start, I want to say thank you to the Denali people who have been the stewards of these lands and waters for centuries, and thank you to the National Park Service for also stewarding these beautiful lands. My piece is called Right Now You Are, because right now we are all the stewards of these lands. And you will see in my visuals, I had a very tactile experience here in the park, and it was just a very much like, I just felt it, and I felt the earth, and I felt it as much as possible. And hopefully you'll feel it too. And I want to say thank you for Colin for going on this magical multi-camming adventure. We have this sort of, you'll see those of us with cell phones in the front row and a bunch of Zoom recorders, because we know that something kinesthetic is happening playing this music in the park. And that is such a gift. So you're really seeing something one of a kind, and I hope you come back next year, because boy, does this program deserve your attention. I'm Seamus, and this has been my introduction for Right Now You Are.
Hello, my name is Carl Stephens. I'm from Indiana, and thank you so much for having all of us here in the park and for this performance. While we were out in Denali, I was thinking a lot about the ways that different paths converge and diverge. The many sinuous streams that make up a braided river, the extraordinary trails made by the doll sheep that lead across the rocky scree, and the paths that we, as hikers, took across this beautiful Alaskan landscape. Sometimes walking together in a line, and other times bushwhacking our own separate ways through a grove of dwarf willow or across the mossy tundra. And of course, there's the path that led each of us, composers, performers, and audience, to this exact moment, here in this space. All of these pathways have points of confluence and periods of separation. In this piece, I focused on the psychological and physical experience of hiking through this majestic place, the excitement with which we begin each hike. That the heavy footsteps that carried our bodies up steep slopes. The hooting and hollering we did to make sure any bears in our path would hear us coming before we saw them. We did not see any bears, by the way, unfortunately. And the awe that we felt whenever we would reach one of the many spectacular views of the national park. That awe gave us the rejuvenating strength to continue on. I hope you will enjoy Pathways.
We have one more piece for you, but I want to say just a few quick things before we go to that last piece. I think you can sense the excitement that these artists feel, the musicians, the composers, and the performers. While you were waiting for the doors to open, you may have looked at some of the artwork across the hall. And that is the product of the Artist in Residence program here at the park. Many national parks have Artist in Residence programs, and they're centered on a very basic formula, and that is that if we bring artists into a place and they have an intense experience, and then they create something, and then they share it with you, with the public, then we are, all of us, helping serve the mission of the interpretive division of the National Park Service. We are an interpretive program. That's what we're here to do. We're doing the same thing that the rangers do when they come out to the campsites and explain the habits of the wolves or the tundra. We're excited to take these places and translate them through sound and music into art that further expresses the full range of emotion that these places evoke, and the life cycles and the history and the geology and the microbiology. There's so much to see here, and it really is an unending source of inspiration to all of us. So it's very special when we get to bring this home to this place. So thank you for being part of that. I want to acknowledge just a few people who are here. We started this program in 2012, which seems like an eternity ago. And at least 4 of the OG are here. Counting me, we've got David Bechkel, who was out with us this year and has been with us every single year. We love you, David. When we founded this program, the person running the educational programs out of the Murray Science and Learning Center for Alaska Geographic was our great friend, David Tomio. We're so glad that you're here all these years later. And of course, the woman who put all the right people at the table to begin with in 2011 and said, maybe we could do something. And Chris Capps, we are so grateful for what you started. Yeah. And there are others. I won't take the time to acknowledge everyone in the room who helped cook for us or drive for us or organize behind the scenes. Our partners here and the park, you know, we're partnering with the Park Service, with the Murray Science and Learning Center, Alaska Geographic. We're also partnering with the Denali Education Center right down the road. We're just so connected to all of the people that are doing these wonderful works, and so our gratitude to all of you. We're going to have one more piece for you, and then we're going to quickly vacate the room because, as you know, people want to get in to see the movie. So I'm going to say now that after we're done, chat with us in the lobby or help us move everything out so that the park can resume the movie very, very quickly. So let me bring our last composer up to tell you about their piece.
Good afternoon. My name is Victoria Malloway. The title of my piece, Lux, comes from Latin, meaning light. And during my time in Denali, I noticed light perhaps more than anything else, and in at least 5 senses of the word. First, as the ever-present physical phenomenon, the natural agent we perceive from the sun in various ways, and perhaps more profoundly in several metaphorical ways, as referring to inspiration, creativity, and generating ideas, as referring to the state of being visible or being known, which is what I felt as our group cared for one another. Also in the sense of a guide or luminary, as our adventure would not have been possible without Steve Lias, Cassidy Goering, David Bechkel, and Paul Olick, showing us the way and teaching us. And most importantly for me, in the sense of spiritual lightness and enlightenment. I'll just say musically, the pacing of accompaniment duets you'll hear reflect the proportions of the Arctic ground squirrel's cycle of freezing and shivering back to warmth in winter, which Cassidy explained to us. And I base the pacing of the other instrument pairs playing in canon on the ratio of the predator-prey cycle of the lynx and snowshoe hares, which Paul taught me about. And finally, the tempo of the piece is based on my heartbeat, which I heard very loudly on one of the many tough ascents we climbed in Denali. I give you Luke's.
Andy Tanning on violin, Charlie Akers on cello, Alex Duray on saxophone, Katie Cox on flute, and Where did Joe go? Joe Whitman on percussion. Aren't they amazing? And composers, stand up. What they pull off in 2 weeks is just uncanny. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you all for coming. We hope you have a wonderful day in the park.